have you agreed to a medical test or procedure simply because it felt like the right thing to do? After all, we're told to be proactive with our health, to check, to screen, to catch things early. But what if after a certain age, some of these procedures can quietly backfire? What if the very tests meant to help lead us down paths of stress, unnecessary treatments, and even harm? Today, we're talking about 7 medical procedures that may not be worth the risk after 6'5", and the reasons why more and more doctors are urging caution. This isn't fear. This is wisdom. Wisdom that comes from new research, real-life stories, and a deeper understanding of how our bodies change with age. Let's walk through them together, gently, clearly, and with care. 1. The annual full-body scan. A false sense of security. Meet Linda. She's 68, fit and sharp as ever. Her son gifted her a full-body scan for her birthday, something he thought was thoughtful and preventative. What he didn't realize was that full-body scans often detect harmless, incidental findings. A tiny spot here, a shadow there. Most are benign, but they lead to follow-up MRIs, biopsies, and even surgeries, all for something that would never have caused harm for someone over 65. The risks of radiation exposure and anxiety may outweigh the benefits, especially when there's no specific symptom prompting the scan. Doctors now say, unless it's recommended for a clear reason, skip the scan. It's not the safety net we think it is. 2. Colonoscopies past a certain age, when benefit turns into burning. Colonoscopies can be life-saving, but context matters. David is 74. He's had 2 clean colonoscopies in the last 15 years. Yet his doctors suggest doing another, just to be sure. But colon cancer typically takes 10 to 15 years to develop. If you've had clear screenings and no symptoms, and you're now over 75, the odds of a new colonoscopy will catch something dangerous before something else takes your life are incredibly low. Worse, the prep is harsh. The anesthesia carries risk, and in rare cases, the procedure can cause tears in the colon. Medical guidelines now recommend weighing risks carefully, and for many, stopping routine colonoscopies after 75 makes sense. 3. Especially if you don't have symptoms. Dom is 70 and enjoys long walks with his dog. One day, a well-meaning cardiologist suggests a treadmill stress test just to check things out. He agrees and ends up flagged for abnormalities. A week later, he's undergoing an angiogram and then a stent placement. But here's the kicker. He never had symptoms. No chest pain, no shortness of breath. New research shows that stress tests in asymptomatic seniors often lead to false positives, unnecessary procedures, and more complications down the line. If you're not showing symptoms, the best heart test might just be a good conversation and a blood pressure check, not a treadmill. 4. PSA, testing for prostate cancer. A personal decision, not a routine one. John, 69, got a PSA blood test out of habit. His number came back slightly elevated. Not alarming, but enough to recommend a biopsy. The biopsy led to an infection. He spent 3 days in the hospital in the final report. The cancer was so slow growing, it wouldn't have affected him for decades. If at all, PSA testing can detect prostate cancer early, but many prostate cancers in older men grow so slowly, they'll never cause harm. That's why guidelines now say, make it a conversation, not an automatic test. If you're over 65, the real question is whether knowing will help or just worry you unnecessarily. 5. Routine imaging for back pain. A path to unneeded surgery. Mary, 72, woke up with a stiff lower back. Her daughter drove her to urgent care, where they ordered an MRI right away. It showed degenerative disc disease. Sounds scary, right? But here's the truth. Nearly everyone over 65 shows some spine changes on an MRI, even if they don't have pain. In Mary's case, the scan led her to see a surgeon who recommended a spinal fusion. She hesitated and got a second opinion. With just gentle physical therapy and rest, her pain resolved on its own. Imaging should be reserved for cases with serious symptoms, like loss of bladder control or numbness, not mild backaches. Otherwise, it can lead to fear and unnecessary surgery. 6. Skin cancer. Biopsies. Know when to pause. Frequent skin checks are smart, but overdoing it can become a problem. Paul, 77, had 3 small moles removed last year. None were cancerous. But the scars remain small but painful reminders. As we age, our skin thins. Biopsies can leave wounds that don't heal well, and minor cosmetic issues can become infections or chronic sores. If a mole hasn't changed shape, color, or size, and your dermatologist isn't concerned, it's okay to monitor. Ask whether watchful waiting might be better than immediate removal. 7. Frequent blood panels. The numbers game that can distract. Finally, there's the matter of labs. Many older adults get regular panels to keep an eye on things, but numbers fluctuate. A slightly low sodium or a borderline kidney function can prompt unnecessary panic or more invasive testing. Instead, focus on how you feel, energy, appetite, sleep, mobility. Lab tests are tools, not truths. If your doctor suggests frequent testing, ask why. What would the results change? Sometimes less testing means more peace. Aging doesn't mean ignoring your health, but it does mean approaching it with nuance, asking better questions, understanding your body's changes, and not assuming that more is always better. Each of these procedures has its place, but so does wisdom. The wisdom to pause, to ask, to choose thoughtfully. So, what do you think? Have you ever had a test or procedure you later questioned? Leave a comment below. We read every one of them. Your experiences matter, and your voice could help someone else feel less alone. And if you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend or loved one. Thanks for spending time with us today. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next video.